we can't handle love. This is like a Bjork song, you know. You can't handle love. And that's what she sings in this song. And then this is it, because she's saying that to everybody that ever lived. You can't handle love. Who can? Who can? Do you know what awkwardness is? Is being overwhelmed with love, not being able to express it, expose it, or show it. Handling the love. We can't do it. And this is what it is that the 5 or 6 senses are. And then why we have to hear, feel, touch, smell, taste. We have to discover things in a simplistic way for the mind not to be an overwhelm. But can you imagine, Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, like 360 senses or something like that, maybe a bit more. There are lots more feelings in every each now. So many. So, my God, it's like an orgasm. Every now is an orgasm. And why we're protecting ourselves from the tantric reality is not why we think. We are scared to actually navigate ourselves purely in a liquid form, which is feeling all things at the same time. We are afraid of that psychedelic psychosis. We are afraid of everything that is, because nothing lies. Not even the mind. Nothing lies. Things mask. Things patch things up. There is like a pothole in the ground. Something, will cover it. There is nothing ever lying. Nothing lies. And then when we come to the 5 senses as to, what I was going to talk about this time, we don't actually need that. We don't have to have it in the physical, in the 3D, how we have. There's so many more senses than just 5. We want the 5 senses because they are all equally disconnected from each other, as the different parts of the mind that are associated with them. Plus, this creates secretive compartments in the mind where we can hide from ourselves and that which is always looking at us, always, which is the mind. It is completely global and awake all the time, connected to all the charismatic and not so charismatic realities that are taking a place simultaneously for all space and time. We are all knowing, all wise, all seeing beings every day, but we cannot find what that is, because if we really could find that energy, we would implode. We would actually describe all things simultaneously, which is an atomic boom, which is also synonymous with God. That's what God is to me. It is just like that implosion and explosion simultaneously, just like the overwhelm, the overglow. It is the atomic explosion. It's the internal part of energy. It's the ongoing turning which makes energy itself. And then when we ask ourselves through all of this, what the hell do we do with all these feelings, right? Say that we feel for another person. That is a very, very complex thing, right? Because you would think so. There is association, there is a past, there is a concentration of consciousness, there's a karmic strand, a twin flame connection, there is a fate line. There's nothing, my friend, and this is the difficult part. There's nothing. But the one thing that becomes the glue in all situations when it comes to desire and also despicable need, and I'm not just talking about sensuality, I'm talking about food, like addiction, like an attraction to certain flavor or aroma or texture or something, is not the knowing of it, it is the being without it. When we find in chemistry with someone else, we want that chemistry with the food. Usually it's not actually food that's organic to the body, and quite needless to say, these types of people that we are in the most significant focus with very, very quickly become our best friends. And the point of that is not because we want them too much or too little or what. It is never what it looks like. It is always a separation, not being able to be without that chemical that this person provides. Do I feel so? Have they got a chemical for me? Is there a possibility? Yes, and that chemical is always the same one. What is it? Love chemical, love chemical. What's that chemical? Addiction? No, not just that. It's the fear of not knowing how to get that impulse by yourself. It's the fear of knowing very, very little without that additive. It's the fear, it's the freak out. Can you imagine if something was just taken away from you? And we've all had this throughout our lifetimes. It's like incarnation cycles after incarnation cycles. Can you imagine not ever tasting vanilla? Not ever being able to smell lavender. You know, if you got a memory and that memory's completely gone, how frightening and exciting is that? It's like you will never ever be able to see a mirror in your life, or you will never ever be able to feel steel or to smell wood. You know, that's the chemical that keeps us worried, especially when we don't understand that each person is one person with a different face.